Do that. So my name is Scott Mantz, and I'm the film critic for Access Hollywood. And it is a real pleasure and an honor to be here moderating this very special Q&A on the 30th anniversary of the SAG Foundation. This is a very special screening. And tonight, we have for you a very special Q&A with the stars and the director of Straight Outta Compton. Let's bring out, in no particular order because they all rock this movie, let's bring out Corey Hawkins as Dr. Dre. Jason Mitchell as Eazy-E. Shay Jackson as Ice Cube. Whoever you want. And the director of Straight Outta Compton, F. Gary Gray.
What's going on, y'all? How y'all feel? Ain't no reason to be quiet. Straight Outta Compton just went off.
Well, first of all, I just got to say, on behalf of everybody, not just in this theater, but around the country and around the world, I mean, congratulations to all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate that.
I mean, how rewarding after all these literal years took to make this movie, to see it do so well critically. I mean, the critics loved the movie, audiences loved it. It's #1 3 weeks in a row. $160 million domestically, ladies and gentlemen. Are you ready? That makes Straight Outta Compton the highest grossing music biopic of all time.
That's God. What?
So just as this last few weeks have been going on since the movie was released in August, like what was going through your mind, just going down the line, starting with you, Corey, like just what was it like seeing this movie take off?
Oh man, it's a blessing, man, and I think you guys can feel it too, because I was told, we're all actors here too, So, I mean, it just that feeling of having your work sort of recognized and having what the film stands for celebrated. You know what I mean? Not just us celebrated as actors and quote unquote celebrities now, whatever that means, but just having what the film stands for recognized. It's crazy. it's surreal, man. And every time we come back to it, it's that same feeling, because we knew how much work and how much passion and how much energy and how we really wanted to get it done right. And it came from the top. It came from Gary down, from the beginning. So it's a blessing.
Thank you.
Well, Jason, take you that sentiment there.
I think. Come on. I'm sorry, y'all. Because 5 years ago, 6 years ago, I didn't think I was going to be an actor. And when I tried it, I didn't think I was going to be famous. So I didn't think anything that I did was going to be recognized on that level at all. And all I really wanted was like that chance, just to change something about myself or change something about what people thought. Because they're like, why don't you get a real job? Or why don't you do this? Or why don't you do that? And I'm like, damn, it's going to work one day. I'm telling you, I feel it,
Never give up.
I got that chance, so it's like, damn. I barely
Shay,
know what to say.
This is your first movie.
Yeah.
It's pretty damn huge. What's this like? What's this ride been like for you these last few weeks?
Oh, well, just the last couple of years, really. It's all been crazy. I'm a screenwriter. Like, that's what I do. That's my love. And that's really the only thing that made me feel like I could do this. It's because I feel like I know what goes into a good film. And I went through the auditioning process for over 2 years, and this film really drove me crazy. Like, it's my family's legacy. It has to be right. And if it's in my hands and I drop the ball, just think about what that means, you know, and like what that like mentally would do to you. Like
You gotta kill yourself.
way to fuck up your family's legacy. Way to go. So you know, it was a lot of pressure, but I had the right people behind me. You know, my castmates, great morale makes great movies, and I'm just glad everybody likes what we put in.
Well, Gary, let's go back to the beginning for you with this movie. It's your first film in, what, 6 years? And you've been developing this. How did this come about for you? How did you come in as the director? And how far along was it at that point when you joined the crew?
I got a call from my agents saying that Q and Matt Alvarez, who's one of the producers, wanted for me to consider the script and the story, and I wasn't really 100% enthusiastic at first because there's so much time and that it spans over 10 years, and I'm like, it's 10 years, it's 5 guys that I know, and so much controversy and so many stories and so much drama that how can you fit it into 2 hours? I thought that it would be an amazing story, but it would be impossible to do in one movie. So it took me 2 weeks to read it. When I finally picked it up, I read it and I thought, wow, there's something there. There's something really, really cool there. And I guess the rest is history. I mean, there was a lot that went into it, but I decided that I wanted to put a story inside of the story. And Cube agreed that this movie and the story that we could tell would be larger than N.W.A. and larger than the music they created.
Well, that was the thing. Part of the thing was during my intro, I was, I moved out. I was like, oh, yeah, I remember that. I remember that. I definitely remember April 29th, 1992. I was living not too far from here. So that was sort of in the heat of many areas. But it's also marveling at the relevancy that the movie has now in the last few years. Like, what were the challenges to make a film that was, well, first entertaining, enlightening, informative, not episodic, and still relevant? I mean, you knocked off a lot of things right there.
Well, it was tough because everybody feels like they know the story. Everybody's familiar with the music. They're familiar with Dre and Q, and to sustain a narrative drive when you have 3 main characters, Ice Cube, Dr. Dre, and Eazy-E, who all had different lives once they broke up, to keep the story in line and on track and keep the narrative strong and narrative drive strong was really, really a challenge. And then to introduce the why, which was the social backdrop, which, it wasn't in the headlines, all the police stuff and stuff like that 4 years ago. It was just something that growing up in South Central LA, we all experienced. So something that was important for me to put in the movie that the first studio wasn't really that excited about putting that in the movie. And then when I went to Universal, they said, hey, listen, you what movie do you want to make? And when I pitched that with the social stuff, they said, we want to make that movie, more specifically Donna Langley. And I said, great, let's do it. I also told them I don't want to use actors who are stars. It was extremely important.
Why?
Because I felt like, but this story is so strong, and I felt like it's important to, with the music is so authentic that I wanted everyone to experience the movie for what it was and to just invest in the story, and not, watch T.I. play Ice Cube and Tyrese play MC Ren and find other people mimicking other people. I wanted the actors with real talent. I wanted to surround myself with extremely talented people. That's real. I love these guys. I love these guys. They're like my little brothers, and I mean that. I love these guys. And I wanted to surround myself with extremely talented people that didn't bring any baggage to this story, and who I could mold and I could work with. And he's got a famous dad and no attitude whatsoever. Came in, work ethic amazing, work ethic amazing, work ethic amazing. And so to be able to just focus on the work, no bullshit, no entourage, no security, no TMZ, just the work. Did they do the work?
Yes, they did.
That was the plan.
Mission accomplished. You know, Shay, I got to ask, you know, a lot of people, I honestly, when I saw that you were playing your dad, I thought, wow, what a slam dunk that is. But it wasn't a slam dunk, was it? No, it's okay.
Man.
Uncensored. How hard was it? What did you have to go through to convince him that you were the right person to play Ice Cube?
Shit, he had to convince me. You know, he the one that came to me with the role. He said, you know, they're finally getting serious about this N.W.A. film. It was before we even knew we was gonna call it Straight Outta Compton. He's been working on Straight Outta Compton for like 13 years. So I was 11. So if this shit got off the ground back then, you know, it couldn't have been apart from me. You know,
Or it would have been a different movie.
like, yeah, completely. You know, so you know, he brought it to me. Gary was doing it. You know, Gary is, you know, he's been a friend of the family since, you know, Dirt and Sky. You know, Gary's just been around, and you know, so I knew I'd be in the right hands, and Gary brought me to people like Aaron Spicer and Susan Batson, and they showed me that my love for movies can go deeper. You know, I can bring something out of me that I didn't know that I had. And then, you know, when you've been going through that process of auditioning and going to classes, having to fly to New York and be out there for classes, and you get to a certain point where can't nobody tell me that this isn't the role for me. Can't nobody tell me I'm not the man for the job. There's nobody who's going to be able to bring what I'm going to bring. There's nobody who's as passionate about this as me. Like I said before, this is my family. You can't get more serious than that. And, you know, I feel blessed that people love my work, you know, that I can do this, you know.
Could you explain to all the actors out there that work really hard and auditioning and sometimes feel discouraged that there is nepotism sometimes and there are times where people get roles that they don't deserve? Explain to them how hard it was for you to get this role and that it wasn't nepotism and that even the last day, the chemistry test.
All right.
I mean, because I don't
Peep game. No.
you didn't get the role because your dad is Ice Cube, right?
Nope, definitely not. You know, when the role is your father and you go to an audition and you don't get a call back for a month, you know, you start tripping out a little bit. You know, it starts really getting to you, and so, you know, I use that fire until, you know, 2 years later, I finally get a call. Yeah, they want you for a chemistry test. Now, I never did this acting thing before. In my head, when I hear chemistry test, it's gonna be me, Eazy, Dre. They go shoot scenes. I'm out. I get there. It's a dude in a Jerry curl. You must be going for Eazy, right? He look up at me. He say, "No, I'm going for Cube." Okay. You go take an L today. So I go over to another dude, another Jerry curl. He tell me he going for Cube and Dre. So now, you know, now I know the situation. I'm here with 3 other Cubes, 4 Dre's, and 1 Eazy.
And one Eazy.
So you know, the pressure was always on, but you know, you just gotta embody your work. You know, if you do your homework, if you work beyond when the cameras is in front of you, you know, when you put your heart in it, you'll get to where you need to be.
Wow, what a story. It's great. Now, Corey, playing Dre, I mean, was he one of your heroes before you even something like this came up? I mean, were you into Dre's music and
No.
N.W.A?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know who he was. You know. I mean,
what are the challenges to play someone that's so? I mean, he's one of the most successful musicians in the face of the earth.
you know, I think it was initially I told him I didn't want to go in for it because
Smart move.
because I was like, if I'm walking down the street, nobody's looking at me and going, "Is that Dr. Dre?" Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was like so many doubts in my head And it's doubts that we have, like, as actors, period. You know, those are the things, the insecurities that get in your way, those mental roadblocks. Had I kept thinking that way, I wouldn't be sitting here with these guys today. You know what I mean? And I literally remember telling my agent, I was like, you know, that's great. I wish them the best, but I'm not the guy for the role. You know what I'm saying? I hope they, you know, get somebody great, because I didn't want to be the one to F up the legacy, you know?
Say, you ain't want to fuck it up.
You know what I'm saying? And so, so then he called me back. He's like, you know, the casting director said you didn't come in. I said, I told you I wasn't going in for the audition, bro. Like, what are you doing? And so one thing led to another, man. He convinced me, because then also at the time, I think I was doing like I was doing Shakespeare on Broadway.
I think I was doing like
I was playing. But for me, I come from like theater, man. I come from like off Broadway, this and
Juilliard.
You know,
this guy graduated from Juilliard.
Thank you, man. But that's another. That's another thing that gets in your way, because people like, oh, you the Juilliard guy. You know, is he street enough?
Right.
Like, I didn't grow up in Southeast DC. You know what I'm saying? And that you forget these things when you want to build and add on to your arsenal, your toolbox. But one thing led to another, man. I think the most challenging thing about playing Dre is that he's such a private guy. He's not a outgoing. And he's an outgoing guy when you know him, but
It's not a social butterfly.
exactly. He just isn't. And so, like, a lot of it was just learning to pull back, man. It was just learning to when to let go and when to get loose. You know what I mean? And it was just tailoring it, because he's an observer. He likes to sit back and watch, like chess. You know, a lot of these guys, you know, it's like they're playing chess. You know.
Did he ever like say to you, just coaching your performance, say you're going too far in this direction, or did he ever?
No, that was my job.
That was your job?
Coaching his performance.
Yeah.
But in terms of giving him doing research, but I did the coaching of the
Yeah,
performance.
Dre sat back. Dre, yeah, Gary was the one like, no, just like, yeah. But Dre was there every single day though. Like, that's the thing. He was, every time I look up, he's there. So I'm like, am I doing it right? You know what I mean? Like, and I do remember one time he came in, because I had to learn how to DJ, I had to learn how to produce, I had to learn how to, you know, we had to eat the 4,000 calories a day and do the whole like gaining the weight and filling out and working out and all of this crazy shit. And like, I just remember him coming in one day on set. Like, you could hear a pin drop. Like, he just walked in the room. Everybody was like, Dre's flying in, he's coming in. I'm like, what? Like, what's going on? And it was the scene where it's Tom scene, you know, and Jazzy Jeff did that for us too, right? Yeah. But anyway, I had to learn how to do it. And he came in, he just looked at the tables and looked at the room, and it just took him back. And you could see it on his face, man. And then he got on the tables real quick and just started like getting down. And I didn't have my phone to capture it. It was just one of those things that, like, you know, but it was the nuances, again, like small things, the voice, and just watching them.
I'm sorry, go ahead. I just don't want you to minimize what you guys did, because it was a commitment. You guys seen Raging Bull, right? Where De Niro has to gain weight and lose weight and learn boxing and stuff like that. These guys had to go through it, because not only did Corey have to go to the gym and eat all these calories and gain weight and become bigger than he was, Jason had to, you know, eat 4,000 calories and gain weight. And what do you have to do?
I had to eat like
Water and
1,400 calories, which, if you don't know, is like dirt, grass, and like
He was so
diet
mad.
water.
We'd be eating burgers and he'd be sitting there
Throwing
like,
sandwiches to each other and shit.
Jay,
Whatever.
So you have that, and you have the fact that, you know, between that and the fact that in 8 weeks we had to rehearse, they had to gain weight, they had to get in the gym, and they had to record the entire Straight Outta Compton album. Perform it.
Yeah, that was us. Yeah.
That was the guys. Most of that, what you heard, was guys, and so they committed. And I only bring it up because, you know, I see a lot of people who come up to me and say, you know, what's the key to success? You know, if I'm an actor, and I have to admit, I don't see a lot of people who are committed. I see a lot of people who are fame chasers, and they just want to be famous, and they're not committed to doing the work. And it's sad because I've worked with some really talented people, and I've seen some people who just won't put the work in, but they really put the work in, and it was hard. There's days that they weren't really fucking with me. It's like what?
No,
you're right. You're right about that.
Yeah,
By the way,
but they did.
that chemistry test that he was talking about, you're seeing it right here. No wonder. I mean, amazing. Now, Jason, I wanted to ask you. I feel like you might have had the most challenging approach to this compared to the other guys because you're playing a character hasn't been around for 20 years. So, how did you prepare to play Eazy-E, and how did it help from his widow coax your performance?
I don't mean to squash your question at all, but I beg to differ. Because I had the freedom of saying I can create an opinion about how I feel about something, or I can feel free this day without this person breathing over my shoulder, or when Dr. Dre's flying and the Ice Cube's floating over your shoulder on the iPad because he's shooting another movie. I don't have to deal with these problems. You know what I mean? And I know it was huge shoes to fill, but Dr. Dre is still here and a billionaire. You get what I'm saying? Like, these guys, we did this together. You know what I mean? But aside from that, Tomica Woods-Wright, she was a huge help, as was Gary, as was Cube, as was Dre, as was DJ Yella, as was MC Ren, as was Layla. I could go on and on and on because Eazy-E has touched so many people's lives. I had people lining up. When we were in South Central shooting, they had 500-600 people outside. People sleeping on top of their roofs. They got sunglasses. We kissing babies. They doing everything because it was something that everybody wanted to be right. Because it's not just Eazy we speaking for. It's a N.W.A. It's a demographic. It's a time of it's an era we speaking for. You know what I'm saying? It's a real movement. It's people who made history that we making history about. You get what I'm saying? So you got to give credit to that man right there. That's the man right there.
Such a vast story, Gary. I want to ask you a couple questions, if you don't mind me asking. First of all, what was your budget for this film?
What was the budget?
Yeah,
30.
Sounds about right. I mean, it looks like it costs a lot more than that. Now, how long was your principal photography, and how long was your first cut of this movie?
Great questions.
Yes.
We shot for 45 days, and the first cut was 3.
Thank you, God. Thank you, God. You so funny.
That was Universal. the first cut was 3 hours and 30 minutes long.
It was still good though, y'all.
It was good. It was good. We just couldn't release that. We called it the Lord of the Rings version.
Now that brings the question: what to cut? Like that's got to be such a difficult decision for any filmmaker. Oh my God, this kid's it's so great. Oh my God, it's 3.5 hours. What do we cut?
All the gory stuff.
All the gory stuff.
It was the hardest thing. Besides casting the movie, it was the hardest thing that I could do because Universal was great. We had a great relationship all the way up until post. I mean, I mean, it's still a good relationship, but that's when we really start to have to get into it because business-wise, you can't release a movie that long, and I'm in love with all of this footage. These guys did such a good job, and I'm a fan of N.W.A. as well, so I'm listening to songs that they want me to cut. I don't want to cut the songs, and relationships, I don't want to cut the relationships. And so it was a thing where I had to cut it down. I had to cut more than an hour from the cut, and we negotiated towards the end to do a director's cut.
When will we see that?
It's coming soon.
Coming soon. Yes. Now, because even with the original cut being 3.5 hours, was there anything that you wanted to shoot that you didn't?
Can I speak on that?
Please.
Because so many people, I hear so much, and then like, Jason, why wasn't this in the movie? And why wasn't that in the movie? And what did they cut? Y'all have to realize that N.W.A. tried to go to their own record release party and couldn't. They made them go sit at a restaurant down the street until it was over, and then all the people who was at the party went down there because they told them they looked like hoodlums and couldn't come in the party. But it was their record release party, and it wasn't in the movie. So I'm sorry, y'all, for whatever was not in the movie. But I'm telling you, it was a lot to cut, and it was hard, and there was a lot of great things that happened, and a lot of great things that add to this group, but they have so much that couldn't go in this, and it's not the Eazy-E story, it's not the Dr. Dre story, it's not the Ice Cube story, it's not the whoever story, it's all about N.W.A. and they had to, make it go a certain way, and it went that way, and it seemed to have some sort of impact, because,
What he said.
Gary, I want to ask, well, as you're progressing along, you're filming the movie, working with these fine young actors. Tell me from your perspective, was there like a special moment where you're watching any one of these or all of them together where you just went, wow, boy, did I luck out with this cast?
It was two moments, actually. It was actually three moments. One was the first time they performed at Skateland.
Told you. This is our first time hearing this, y'all. So we celebrating with y'all. Y'all can clap with us or whatever. Yeah, we all there. Two more times.
Skateland. Sorry, guys. This is Universal. I'll cut the movie. It was Skateland because it's one thing to cast someone who has street credibility. It's one thing to cast someone who has the ability to perform. It's one thing to cast, a group of guys who have the likeness of the characters you're trying to portray. But it's a whole nother thing when you put them on stage, because not only do you individually have to capture what it was to be Ice Cube or the other four guys in the group, that could be really awkward, but you have to have chemistry yourselves on the stage together. So you're doing triple and quadruple the amount of work to make it work. And when they got on stage and did it, and it all came together all at once, I was like, damn, I got N.W.A. And they did it. And the crowd actually was like, oh shit, N.W.A.'s on stage doing Dope Man. And that's when I knew I had the group. And that's when the second time was when we were in Detroit and we did Fuck the Police. That was an amazing moment because these guys ate it up. This guy, on stage wasn't at all worried or affected by the fact that we had thousands of people out there, and got up there with the confidence of a champ. And, this is with the undercurrent of Dre's brother dying and all of the subtext that's going on, all of the FBI warnings and the police stuff. So they not only came with the performance, but the passion and the anger underneath the performance. They were still telling the story and performing the song. That's another time where they came together. And then at the end, when Eazy...
that shit took 3 days, too, by the way. Just go ahead and throw that out there.
At the end, when Eazy passed, or when Eazy was in the hospital sick, the guys really had an emotional reaction to it. Like, really, actually. Neil had a hard time acting in the scene. Corey had a hard time acting because at that point, we had built such a bond as a family, and especially the guys at the group. It was hard for them to see him in the bed because he tapped into something very real.
Yeah.
Those tears were real. And so for them to experience that with him, you could feel their energy drain, like, wow, our brother is actually in pain. And so that brotherhood that I looked to create was very real, and I experienced that then. I don't know if you guys want to speak to that.
I'm going to just speak on just that last moment. But first, just a credit to this man right here, because he was our anchor throughout this whole movie. He gave us sort of the I don't know, man, just the permission to just be ourselves and just to own our craft. You know what I mean? And whatever that meant, because we didn't know what the hell we were just going for it. We were throwing stuff at the wall and seeing if it stuck, And the way he set it up so that we shot that scene towards the very end. And they called it the easy week, but it was not easy, but experiencing that through Jason and through each other, experiencing the fact that this movie we were about to be finished shooting this film and letting it go and seeing our brother in the hospital. I mean, it was surreal, man, to go from the Skateland scene, which was towards the beginning of principal photography, just crafting that and giving your actors that space to like play in, man. It's a blessing, G. And I'm thankful to you for that, man. Thank you. He's a genius.
No,
He's a genius.
That's part of it. I don't want to overtalk, but I mean, it's one of those things where I've learned over the 20-something odd years I've been in this business that you surround yourself with talented people who can make contributions. A lot of times directors, especially when they're young, they're afraid of actors. They don't know what to do with actors. Just give me the line, give me this, and I'm going to go. They're scared of you guys a lot of times. And when you work with someone who's comfortable and they give you the opportunity to eat, and that's a special language we have for each other, where basically I would give the studio their couple of takes, what's written, and then I'd say, guys, you guys ready to eat? And I would let them improvise. Half this movie is improvised. And they came up with most of the stuff that was organic and real. The Bye Felicia moment, that's improvised.
Look, I'm sorry. Look. I'm trying to hold it because, look, I was emotional earlier because we came this far because we had a chance. Scott Bernstein is somewhere in this room.
Where you at?
I gotta give you Scott
Bernstein. His ass.
Look, this dude right here is the reason we had a chance as a crew. You know what I mean? To really do our thing. Donna Laney, wherever you're at in this world, Lord, I hope your ears buzzing. You know what I mean? Because it's like, y'all know as actors, like you be thinking at home, man, if I could do that, look, if I just knew I could do that, if you just had that communication with the director, like, what I could do and what I can't do. You know what I mean? You just experience yourself on a different level. And all us was afraid on this. Like, I don't care what none of y'all believe or none of y'all say or how comfortable we might see them on that camera. We was all ready to shit a solid gold brick because we was like, look, this, like it's all them thousands of people that was out there in that crowd is real people who from LA, who experiencing that, who looking up at us like, y'all better get this right. You know what I mean? And it was so much surrounding it. And it, bruh.
No, it's very real. It's very real. But
thank you. I can't explain it. I can't even put it in too many words, but I appreciate this so much.
No, listen,
this is not our vision.
It's our vision.
It's your vision.
It's our What
vision,
I brought
dude.
up.
It's your vision, dude.
It's our vision.
We might have did our part, but it's your vision, G. Come on.
Just let y'all talk.
Give a big hand clap for F. Gary Gray. Come on.
Hey, listen.
Serious.
As it relates to acting, I loved the opportunities when it was time to give you guys a shot to eat. I knew that I would get something special because you guys developed that relationship and you guys were ready. Neil was over ready, but
that's yellow.
Yeah,
that's yellow, y'all.
But you guys are ready, and so for the actors out there, be prepared. Prepare yourself. There's there's different approaches, and I know certain directors just want you to hit your mark, say your lines, and do what it is. That's what it is. But always be prepared because you might work with that one guy who's like, all right, show me what you got. And I have found that if I create a comfortable environment for my actors and they feel safe, they'll give you way more than any writer could come up with in a dark basement somewhere typing on a laptop. And so to be able to make contributions and collaborate, that feels like I'm creating with you. I'm not a prop to you. You see what I'm saying? And so that's what you would experience. These guys coming in and serving our vision.
Well, on behalf of all the actors in this room, in this theater, and beyond, just want to say bravo. Bravo.
Thank you.
Bravo, you guys.
Thank y'all.
Thank y'all.